Recently, I've been working on some modular magnetic dungeon tiles inspired by RP Archive, and everything was going amazing until I added the magnets with hot glue. It got stringy and messy, and it just looked terrible. But I came up with a bunch of different solutions that might be able to help you as well if you're struggling with the same thing. Hot glue is just plain messy. It's stringy, has a quick setting time that makes you rush, and I inevitably burn myself trying to manipulate it. There are really three problems to tackle here: the stringiness of the glue, how to cover up your inevitable mistakes, and if it's possible to avoid this issue at all. Let's start with the most obvious, the stringy glue. In my research, I didn't necessarily find a video that specifically said that this technique was the key, but nearly everyone seemed to be doing the same circular motion after laying down some glue. Basically, you squeeze your glue into place, wait a beat or two for it to set just a little bit, and then make a quick circular motion to cut off any stringy bits with the hot end of the hot glue gun. It worked pretty well, but it's a habit that I'm just gonna have to get into. After gluing a bunch, it became muscle memory, and it got a lot easier. But with that being said, even though it's a lot cleaner than before, and relatively quick, I still wouldn't want to do it as the last step on a finished piece of terrain. It just still looks too messy. Another technique that I found on Quinian's Budget Crafts channel is to spread out the glue once you've laid it down. I found you'll still want to do the little loop at the end to discourage strings, but it worked well enough. One other thing to keep in mind is the size of your glue gun's tip. A larger tip means more glue, and if you're trying to minimize glue showing on the finished product, the smaller the tip, the better. But what happens if you've already covered your project in hot glue? Or what if you're like me and are just really bad at avoiding a mess? Well, I've got two ways to fix it. The first is Woodland Scenics Foam Putty. It's kind of like if drywall spackle met whipped cream cheese, but that makes it absolutely perfect for covering up unwanted texture on foam cracks. I just applied it to the sides of a few tiles with my finger, waited for it to dry, and then sanded it down. The results were pretty good after painting, but it's a long process, and in the end you can still see where the glue issues were. Because I like to get things done in as few steps as possible, I wondered if I could get away without using the Woodland Scenics foam and just use paint. And as long as you're okay with still seeing a bunch of glue string texture under the paint, you totally can. I definitely don't want to remake all of these tiles, so I'm just going to be painting over the sides. But the ultimate change that I'm going to make moving forward is changing the order of assembly. Instead of adding the magnets as the last step, I'll add them while the pieces are still unpainted. That way I can still try to be as clean as possible, but also cover any mistakes I made without having to paint twice. It's worth mentioning that there were a few other techniques that I didn't try for one reason or the other, or I just didn't like. The first was to use super glue instead of hot glue. And while I think this could definitely work for someone that's a little more dexterous than me, I ended up just gluing my fingers together. Not exactly beneficial when you're crafting. The other technique was to just melt the glue strings with a hairdryer. Now, I don't have a traditional hairdryer, so I couldn't try this out, but if you do and you try it, let me know. I would love to know how that works. And subscribing would be a great way to help the channel grow so that I can afford more materials and tools. If you don't mind the look of hot glue strings on your craft, just leave them be. They aren't hurting anything, and I bet your players won't even notice. But if you're an overachiever like me and want clean, consistent results, try one of these steps and let me know what you think. See if one works better than the other, and leave me a comment if you have any tips or tricks. Thanks so much for watching. I'm already excited for next time. It's kind of like if drywall spackle met whipped cream cheese. It's kind of like if drywall spackle met whipped cream cheese. Wow, that's hard to say. Thanks so much for watching.